Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Now we have controlled about some of the phenomena that Allah have created on earth. And it shows you why, in His wisdom, He wanted a vice regency for Him to control this earth. Very complicated, full of problems. And you can see the picture here, tsunamis, all sorts of things that are present. Let us now talk about earthquakes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He has thrown in the earth وَأَلْقَى فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِيَ أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ. I told you Rawasi is not mountains. Rawasi are the platforms that cover all the earth, and it's carrying, like I showed you the picture, carrying the continents and the oceans, taking the continent to wherever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants it to go. And He's still carrying India. India was at the bottom of Africa, and Allah sent a Rawasi, one Russia, and carried the continent of India and moved with it and took it to where it is, and now it's banging into Asia. And that's why the Himalaya is still growing. And then earthquakes, horrendous amounts, because it's banging with it. Okay? So wherever all these Rawasi are meeting, they are not connected. They are edge to edge, and they move, bang together. And in between them, there is magma comes out and drops on either side. And these are 80,000 kilometers in the world. So the earthquakes happen between those. And the picture is showing between them. And Allah used this for the punishment of some people, so that we can learn from this our lessons. And we actually prepare ourselves to protect ourselves from these earthquakes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah 11, Hud, verse 67, وَأَخَذَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا الصَّيْحَةَ فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دِيَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ. And the Almighty, those who were unfair, He took them with a sayha, with a cry, very, very loud. Okay? And they wake up dead in their homes. And another verse in Surah 54, Qamar, verse 31, إِنَّا أَنصَرْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ صَيْحَةً وَاحِدَةً فَكَانُوا كَهَشِيمِ الْمُحْتَضِرِ. We send one sign, because I am told by my son in New Zealand that the sound of earthquakes and friction of the Rawasi under them in New Zealand sends the shiver in their body, very strong. So that's what the sayha means. It's the noise. It's the noise of the... And Allah in Surah Fussilat 41, verse 13, فَإِنْ أَعْرَضُوا فَقُلْ أَنذَرْتُكُمْ صَاعِقَةً. I shall send you a sa'iqah, like the one I have sent Ad and Thamud. And historically, the people of Thamud occupied the northwest area of Arabian Peninsula between Medina and Syria. This is an area that has always been a site of seismic waves, seismic activity. Thamud was a son of Abir. Abir means good smell. He was a brother of Aram, the son of Sam, who was the son of Nuh. So that is the story of those people. And in Surah 51, Zariyat, verse 44, فَعَتُوا عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِمْ فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الصَّاعِقَةُ وَهُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ. So they have challenged Allah, and so the sa'iqah took them while they are looking. A stunning noise have taken them while they are looking. An earthquake took them while they are looking. In another Surah 7, A'raf, verse 78, فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الرَّجْفَةُ, the shaking, فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ, and they stayed, they found themselves dead in their bodies, and their bodies in their houses. So you remember that I told you about the Banji. The Banji is the collection of continents. All the continents were together. And they started with the order and the command of Allah to move everyone to his place. And you can see India and Australia were all at the bottom of Africa, and they moved out there. On what? Who carried them? The rawasi. وَالْأَرْضَ مَدَدْنَاهَا وَأَلْقَيْنَا فِيهَا رَوَاسِي. The earth, we have extended it. We have extended the earth, and we have thrown into it rawasi. The earthquake is a naturally induced shaking of the ground, caused the fracture and the sliding of the rock. 6,000 earthquakes happen every year. 5,500 are very small, and they occur in non-populated areas, areas with no people, no houses and everything. 450 can be felt with no damage. Only 35 cause minor damage. The remaining 15 cause great loss of life in property and in structure. Now, if we look at this picture of the world, we find out areas which is marked. There are areas of earthquakes in the world which correspond to the borders of the plates. You know the plates that we talked about? The rawasi that we talked about? The borders of it, of the lithosphere, according to the plate tectonics, where all the earthquakes happen. In the earthquake, in the areas which are yellow, then only 10,000 die in these areas. In the black areas, 50,000 die. And in the red areas, more than 300,000 die. The average death toll in the 20th century has been 20,000 people annually. An earthquake before dawn in July 28, 1976 in Tanshan, North China, killed approximately 250,000 people. This is, of course, due to collapse of houses, bridges, and other structures. The seismic waves are measured by certain machines in the Mercalli scale and in Richter scale. And we know these things, and we use them for warning the people that an earthquake is about to happen. The earthquakes happen regularly in certain areas, like in San Francisco and Los Angeles. And the houses are made on concrete, which is mixed with rubber. And the frames are made of very, very elastic wood with minimum number of floors. This is not true anymore because of the advance of science. They made even very buildings with multiple floors in those two cities. There are warning systems before the earthquake comes, and it can be televised by television and by radio and by all techniques to warn people about the presence of earthquakes. That brings us to a special type of earthquake. What about the earthquakes that happen in this rawasi in the bottom of the ocean? There are plates there, and the plates have got edges. And then earthquakes take place in the bottom of the ocean. And you can see the wave here in the title of the subject, the tsunamis. And this is a true picture. This is the wave that came out in Indonesia on the people while they are standing innocently looking at the sea. Can you imagine? I am standing there looking at the sea, and all of a sudden a wave comes to me high enough to be as high as the Empire State Building or over, because it's over 30 meters, 90 feet, and it's coming at me. And it will not just come on me and cover me, it will go in and go inland to about 4.5 kilometers. So it will destroy everything in its path. Nothing will stay alive. So they are the most catastrophic of all ocean waves. They are created by tectonic displacement as a result of volcanoes, landslides, or earthquakes in the seafloor. In these rawasi, as they rub each other, they make waves in the water possessing wavelengths equal to the water depth. Equal to the water depth means that if there's 7 miles of depth, then the wave will be about 7 miles deep in the ocean. They can be several thousand meters at the point of origin. And the problem, as you can see here, in December 2005 in Indonesia, you've seen the first wave first, and then those people were just standing normally in the seafront, not very far from the sea, and they found all this water coming at them. I mean, they're running. Running where? And how far? And how fast can they be? These waves can travel radially outwards for thousands of kilometers while retaining substantial energy. They can travel in the middle of the ocean, and they can travel, and nobody can see them. I mean, in the open ocean, their amplitude, their height in the ocean is usually less than 1 meter. Therefore, they usually pass unnoticed by ships and seas. Nobody can see them. And their speed is about 500 kilometers per hour, 300 miles per hour. So it's just absolutely horrendous. And you can see now the picture. I'll show you 1 or 2 pictures as we go through the tsunami that happened in Indonesia. As they approached the beach, it started from the bottom of the ocean, and as they approached the beach, the resulting wave can be devastating, especially to low-lying coastal areas, especially all the little huts and little things that present on the beach and near the beach. The 37-meter, which is 120 feet waves from the 1883 Krakatoa eruption, for example, killed 36,000 people. I'm sure the one in Indonesia killed more people. We haven't got the right number of how many people died. The earthquake, which produces the tsunami, usually exceed 6.5 Richter strain on the Richter scale. It destroyed the earthquake, the tsunami that happened in Sumatra, Indonesia, in Banda Aceh, destroyed the houses in Banda Aceh in Indonesia, and the picture is in front of you here. This is all true pictures, and this is another picture of Banda Aceh in Indonesia. And this is the fortunate mosque which remained intact, and all the survivors of December 26 tsunami picked through debris in front of the mosque in Banda Aceh in Indonesia. It's the only building that fortunately stayed good. Those 2 pictures are for the mosque. And the tsunamis are known to occur on shores of continents surrounded by oceans. However, it may happen elsewhere. The Pharaohs of Alexandria, which is the lighthouse of Alexandria, was destroyed by a tsunami after an earthquake which leveled it to the ground in AD 365. And tsunamis are known to reach as far as 4.5 kilometers inland, as Peru in August 23, 1868. Most tsunamis occur in Pacific Ocean, where a warning system has now been established consisting of strategically placed seismic stations and a communication network. So you can see the picture here showing a new system using sensors on the bottom of the ocean, which seismic activity sends its signals to stations floating on the ocean surface. And the signals from these stations will be picked up by satellite, which in turn will be sent to land-based stations in areas of potential danger. So they take the signal from the bottom of the ocean, goes up to the station on the surface of the sea. It takes by computer and by signals to a station, and the station informs the area of danger, what is going to happen. Now, volcanoes. Volcanoes are again used in the Holy Quran for the punishment of people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the day of overshadowing cloud, He says in Surah 11, Hud, verse 94, وَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا, and when the time came, we have saved Shu'aib and his people, whom he believed in him, with mercy from us. And those who disbelieved in us, they were taken by a scream, by a shout, and they stayed in their houses dead. In another verse in Surah 29, Ankabut, verse 37, they have disbelieved in him, فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الرَّجْفَةُ, and so the shaking took them, فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ, and they were taken in their dead. In another verse, 26, Nahl, verse 189, they disbelieved in him, فَأَخَذَتْهُمْ عَذَابَ يَوْمِ الظُّلَّةِ, so they were taken by the day of shadowing. It was a great big painful day. And in another verse, 7 A'raf, verse 91, Surah 7 A'raf, verse 91, فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الرَّجْفَةُ فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دِيَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ, and it took him the shake, and they were taken dead in their houses. And also in Surah 15, Al-Hijr, verse 78, وَإِنْ كَانَ أَصْحَابُ الْأَيْكَةِ لَظَالِمِينَ, that the companion of the wood were wrongdoers. And in Surah 7, Al-A'raf, verse 90-91, وَقَالَ الْمَلَأُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ قَوْمِهِ لَإِنِ اتَّبَعْتُمْ شُعَيْبًا إِنَّكُمْ إِذًا لَخَاسِرُونَ. And the people who, not the people of Shu'aib, the people who did not believe in Shu'aib, told him, if you follow him, you will be loser. And that way, the Ragfa asbahat, and the Ragfa has taken them, the Sheikh have taken them, and they were left dead in their homes. We have got examples of what happened. In the Pichco area in the States, the fire cemetery, historical fires, this is historical fires of Pichco in 1871, killed 1,200 people, were thought to be due meteorites which burned in the earth atmosphere. So burned above the city or above the village and burned everybody alive. So it set fire in the woods and the houses, covering the city with smoke, leading to total destruction of the city. And this is a meteorite entering Earth atmosphere and burning up. The objects falling on Earth, there is asteroid 956 and Gaspara, which is as big on the top left, as big as Manhattan. The asteroid 243 Ada, which is again very big. There are meteorites in Egypt in the middle left, and iron meteorite is in the middle right, and then falling stars. The falling stars are only dust of these coming down to touch Earth, and Halley's comet is a comet. So Lot's people, قالوا يا Lot, said Lot, Inna rusulu rabbika, we are the messengers of Allah. They are not going to touch you with any harm. So take your people at night and don't look behind you. Nobody is going to be hurt except your wife, because she will be affected exactly like the rest of them. And the morning is their time when it happens. And when our command came, we made their bottom upwards, and you know, we destroyed everything. We made the bottom of the earth up in the air. And that's a best explanation of a meteorite impact. وأمطرنا, and we dropped on the rain بحجارة من سجيل, with stones from سجيل ممدود. And سجيل ممدود is exactly not known what it is. So I will leave it as it is. It's something that we don't know what it is exactly. And I think that there is no satisfactory explanation. But it is stones from Sijil al-Mamdud. And in another story of the people of the elephants, the people who took the elephants and went to destroy Mecca on elephants, Allah have sent on them tayran ababil, something flying, ababil. Again, we don't know what it is. And it's again very consistent with meteorites that come out from space. ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل. Sijil again. It sends them hijara, stones from Sijil. We don't know what Sijil is. I mean, and فجعلهم كعصف مأكول. And he made them empty, like an empty field of stalks and straw. كعصف المأكول is the straw that is left after birds have eaten them and treaded on them with their feet. So, what have we got now here? This is a picture to show you the asteroid impact on Earth. The impact on Earth will make a crater, will make a very big hole on the Earth. And when it falls on the Earth and makes the crater, the whole Earth moves up in the air and creates smokes and fires. And the middle pictures show you the appearance of that. That we assume that it happened about on the Gulf of Mexico 65 million years ago in an area of about 190, you can see the picture on the top right, 190 miles in diameter. And it is said that it blackened the whole earth for 6 months and killed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must have used this to kill all the rhinoceroses and all the wild animals and dinosaurs. So the dinosaurs were all killed, and remnants of them is present in the land of the United States in the bottom picture on the right, and the pictures on the middle show the impact and the fires going off in the skies. In the craters, there's so many craters on Earth, by the way, caused by impacts of meteorites or asteroids. And the asteroid belt, there's an asteroid belt around the sun where all the broken rocks are present there. And there's so many of them. There's quite a lot to talk about, but I don't think I've got the time to cover that. But I'll just give you one example of a crater in Germany, in Lingen, in Germany. And that crater is built in it a city. And the church in it, the wall of it, is made from glass and stone, which contains remnants that couldn't possibly be on Earth. It must have come from outside, from Earth. It contains calcite, and the calcite and molten rock sand has no bearing or never comes from Earth. And this is the picture of Nordlingen and what it looks like with its church in the center. The micrometeorites drift to the ground without vaporizing. They may add 1,000 tons to the mass of the Earth each day. That's the little dust that falls on us from outer space. You know, there is the planet number 10 that was broken to pieces, and God decided not to make it a true planet, leave them into pieces on Earth. And although 500 large meteorites may fall on the Earth each year, only about 1% of these are recovered. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I repeat that again, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ in the ceremony, the great big ceremony of creation of Adam, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ in Surah 2, Baqarah verse 20, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. I'm going to make a vice regency on earth. And they said, why don't we pray for you? So the vice regent, the human being, made machines, because we were watching, Shoemaker was watching on the top left how the asteroid was heading to impact on Jupiter. And the asteroid impact made a hole, made a crater the size of Earth on Jupiter. So Shoemaker expected that to happen, and within 24 hours, you can see the picture on the left and on the right top, and the hole on Jupiter, which is the size of Earth. So we as Khalifa on Earth, we made now machines to detect, computers to detect an impact, and the meteorites which are going to impact on us. I mean, an impact on the United States of a comet or asteroid of 5 miles in diameter could destroy the Earth. I mean, a few years ago, we understood that Swift Tuttle was going to come, which is a little meteorite about 5 kilometers in diameter, was coming to touch the orbit of Earth, and we were thinking there was a meeting by 20 countries in a meeting, an international meeting called the End of the World, and in which the Russian Energia rocket was going to be used with head war weapons from Americans to go and push the Swift Tuttle, which is that little meteorite, away from the thing without destroying it, because if they destroyed it, it will all come on Earth. So that's how man is God vice regent on Earth and must try to protect it from all elements. And if you, Surah 7, Al-A'raf, verse 56, and don't destroy the earth after it has been corrected, and pray for him, khawfan wa tama'an, in hope and in fear that his mercy is near. And then this was a meeting with Her Majesty the Queen, and with all 38 nations. I presented with Dr. Sheikh Anas Abu Shadi, the Muslims in England, and the affirmation made on the Commonwealth Day, 12th of March 2001, was in Westminster Abbey before Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. Every person of whatever color, class or creed possesses unique worth and dignity. Respect for nature and stewards of the earth by caring for every part of it and for it as a whole. Our belief in justice for everyone and peace between peoples and nations. Love is the foundation of all human relations. We each belong to our own nation and to the whole human family. To the service of both, we pledge ourselves. We affirm our trust in God. We affirm our trust in God, our hope of a new world, our service to our neighbors and the world. This has been read by all the people attending from 38 nations without any notice to creed or relation. And I finish with one of the calligraphies of Mrs. Fretwell, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'll see you tomorrow.